Alrighty, here we are on the grid in southern France at a racetrack called Circuit d'Albi. Starting in P9 on a 20 lap race. There's the lights out and away we go. Getting a bit of a line up on the Eagle in front, but getting held up by the second of the two. Coming through the first corner, fast right-hander, getting checked up by the cars in front, taking it very cautiously. Oh, even still getting checked up. And then all contact between me and Cooper Climax. I'm getting pushed off wide. Having to take to the grass, losing a couple of positions. Looks like I'm going to lose another one down the straight, as we've not come out of that corner very nicely. Oh, even another one possibly. See if I can outbrake him into the fourth corner at this old airfield in southern France, in the town of Sequestre. At Circuit d'Albi. So old purpose-built racetrack from 1960s. Was built after the 1955 Le Mans disaster, as we get a little bit of a run from Jackie Stewart into the next corner. Oh, just avoiding him. Having to be very cautious with the Assetto Corsa AI around this track. Another reason why I've picked the McLaren M2B, which is an old 1966 F1 car rather than the 67 cars that I'm running with at the AI. They're quite a bit faster, or I'm quite a bit faster than them, sorry. So picking a slower car to just even out the grid a little bit, but still got to be very tentative when you come up on the back of them, as they will just slow right down, just like that. It's exactly what I was talking about. Able to take that corner quite a lot faster than them. But no match. I am no match for them in the straights, as they have an average of about 400 horsepower, and I'm sitting at a lowly 320 in an old 3-litre Indianapolis Ford engine. But no matter, I can still outdo them on the brakes just like that. But yeah, purpose-built racetrack, built after the Le Mans disaster, as I was saying, and it was used to be held in the city of Albi, which is to the west, I believe, like just a little short drive to the west. They used to hold it in the town, but after the Le Mans disaster in 55, they banned all street tracks, and as of that, they built this racetrack around the airstrip, which I don't know whether it used to be called Aerodromo d'Albi or whether it was called something else, because it is in the town of Sequestre, not in the town of Albi. As we cross the finish line to start another lap, come into the first corner once more. P13, 2 laps down, coming up right on the back of Jackie Stewart. Definitely a lot faster through this section, and it's probably the reason that I wanted to do this video the most, I think, is that first sector there. It's so much fun, especially if you're driving lower and slower Formula cars. Like, you know, cars from 1950s upwards. I really think that sector is super rewarding to drive, as the camber just sucks you in, so all of the four-wheel drifts that you get into around it usually end up being beneficial rather than costing you time. So super fun to drive. And then the other couple of corners that are really fun to drive are the double right-handers at the end of the straight, as there's a section just in the middle where the airstrip runs alongside it. Now, I don't know if this is like it would have been in real life. However, the Assetto Corsa mod has the section of the airstrip as gravel. So when you cross over the gravel, you lose grip, and it just is super fun to drive on, especially when you get up alongside a car and you both lose grip for half a second. It's very enjoyable to drive and race alongside. But I don't imagine it would have been like that in real life. Especially considering that the airstrip probably would have been the only thing that would have been tarmac. Especially in these periods. However, unsure. But yeah, still run to this day. This track does lower Formula classes and historic car racing. Maybe not car racing so much as just show days. And the airstrip is still active, apparently. Can't confirm that though. As we come into this double right one more time, as we lose grip and get all crossed up, and nearly run into the back of Jack Stewart because of it. But looks like we've got a pretty good exit out of that corner, so might be able to get him into this left-hander up here. It was a pretty good overtaking spot in practice. Braking about now. All down a third and just absolutely reeling it in alongside Jackie Stewart. See if I can power out of it and get the outside line before he can. Down to second and turning in. Turning in too late. He might get the run alongside me to the start-finish line and then into the first corner. I think he's going to as well. As we come past the pits and into the first corner, braking now. Oh, and he's alongside, not a spot to be alongside. Oh, and we touch. And he span. Oh, I think that was a bit ambitious from him. Not a spot I definitely would have been going for a move. Two cars do not fit into that corner, unfortunately. So, anyway. I'm sorry, Sir Jackie Stewart, but that place is mine now. And looking forward to what I believe is two Brabhams ahead of me. And then I think we got a couple of Eagles ahead of them. So, got 15 laps to go. And everything to play for. As we get nice crossed up around that section once more. Nice short laps around here, only like a minute 14, minute 13 on a good lap. So should be able to reel them in pretty quickly. I really wanted to do a Formula 2 race around this track and then maybe jump in one of the old Formula 3 cars from 67. However, the AI was too quick in the Formula 2 compared to the Formula 3, and the engine difference was huge. They would just fly past me on the straight, whereas the McLaren 66 car has just enough in it to keep with them if you get into the slipstream. So come through the first sector, pulling right in on the Brabhams, as that's definitely the spot that they are slowest. I'm sure that I could redo the AI line pretty easily, as it's only a short lap, and make the AI more competitive, but I just thought that it was a bit easier to jump into a slower car and have the faster cars fill out the rest of the grid, and it seemed to work pretty well. And bit argy-bargy up in front from the two Brabhams. I think it's Denny Hulme and someone else, but we'll see when we cross the line, I'm sure. As we've got a couple of more corners to finish out this lap, and we've made significant progress on them in just one lap, so should be able to get them next lap as we get nice and sideways through that corner. I really started to enjoy driving the McLaren towards the end of practice and qualifying for this race, as it felt more like the old Grand Prix Legends cars. I know that it is a Grand Prix Legends mod set, as we do a 1:13.2, which is the fastest lap I've done around this track so far, and pull right in alongside them. There's just a certain car characteristic that you would find from the Grand Prix Legends cars when they would go sideways that is not the same as the Assetto Corsa physics, so it's nice to have that handling set in this car. Because I thought about going for a move there, and then obviously pulled out of it and thought the better of it. And pulling right into the back of their gearbox. Don't have the horsepower to get alongside them onto a straight, but I should be able to pull off a move into this corner if I'm close enough, which I've decided against, but should be next lap. Alongside Denny Hulme now. See what I can do. He's just got a little bit more grip and a little bit more horsepower as well. I think all the cars are a little bit lighter than this one and quite a lot faster. As we've dropped down to a 1:14.7, so significantly slower on that lap. But this one, I've got a fantastic exit. And really reeling them in onto the straight here. Absolutely awesome sector to drive. But yeah, really felt like the old Grand Prix Legends cars in the handling aspect. I feel like a lot of the other ones are a lot more planted, and you can throw them in and drive them, and this one just really felt on the edge and was super fun to drive. As we are once again right on his gearbox. I think the move is on here, as he hasn't pulled away from me too much now. Should be able to get the move done before the last corner. Braking at just before the second board. And then right up the inside. That was a send if I've ever seen it. And probably would have resulted in a crash in real life, but you know what? That's sim racing for you. It's really nice to be driving these slower Formula cars as well, as I've been doing quite a bit of league racing with the same league that I've always been doing, and we're currently in the 90s formulas, and they've just got so much downforce, which makes for really fun racing. I think you can get quite easily alongside people and you don't need to worry about giving them heaps of room. But in these cars, it's really all about the driving. It's just such a pure experience. You know, you've got to wait to turn in, you've got to wait to brake, wait to get on the power. It's a slower, more pure form of racing. So when you are able to go for moves, you really need to know that they're going to stick, which I think is just fantastic. It's absolutely awesome. As I just do the absolute opposite of what I was talking about doing with Gaulegier and send it on him from a mile back. But anyway, I don't reckon Gaulegier saw that one coming. But yeah, okay. A ton of track in front. Just starting lap 10 now. 1 minute 14. Jochen Rindt 7.6 seconds up the road. Let's see what we can do in one lap. See if we can pull him in. First time coming through this sector in clear air. And we're just able to attack it a lot more. Get a lot closer to the inside curb. And really throw the car in with a lot of throttle at the same time. Previously I had to lift off to avoid all the cars. Now I'm really able to go hell for leather. Topping out just at 267, 266, third, second, and then a nice slow turn in. No throttle across the gravel there, or minimal throttle across the gravel, otherwise it would spin, and then up to third. And then you want to try and push out to the outside of the track here, and then cut back to the outside of the next corner, and then braking halfway between those two boards, down to third, and really flicking the car in here, trying to kick the rear out a little bit so that you could power slide out the exit, down to second way earlier than you think you need to, because it just would not bite on turn in, as there's a nice massive bump in the middle of the track that you had to avoid, and that is a 113 flat, so taking a second off of Jochen Rindt. Quite a nice lap, and all yellow's up in front, don't know what that's about as the game goes all laggy, and not quite able to attack the corner because of that. Up to fourth, and then fifth. I think they were topping out at around 275, so about a 10 kph advantage over what I had, which really long run didn't matter just because my corner speeds were a lot higher. I think comes back to that AI line thing. I think it'd be a really fun race to do with group of people, I think, this track, as there would be a lot of action. You're always very close, short track. Would have been really fun to drive in the old F2 cars back in the day, as I think it was Formula 3 and under from the Open in 1962 up to like 1967, I think, and then from 1967 to 73, sorry, it was Formula 2, and including those higher downforce cars, and then from there on it just went lower categories of racing, just because it's such a short track. I think they thought about hosting the 1970 French Grand Prix here, but opted out of it, and I believe that it went to Clermont-Ferrand for the 1970, and then 1972 and 73. I've done that video before and I still can't remember, but a lot of really good French tracks from this era, and I don't know why, but every single time that I jump on a Assetto Corsa in a 67 car or 70 car, I always want to drive French tracks. You've got Rouen, you've got Le Mans, you've got Albi, Clermont-Ferrand, Le Mans, Bugatti. Probably not Bugatti, but it's still another good track. You got, I know that Monaco isn't in France, but you got Monaco, How. There's so many. It just seems to be that the roads were twisty and interesting, whereas a lot of the British tracks at this point, you had Aintree and Silverstone and what else you had? Cadwell Park. Cadwell Park wasn't too bad. A couple of those smaller tracks like that were pretty good, but Silverstone was just an airfield, and I know that it was fast and enjoyable, but I much prefer the variety of corners that you find on a circuit like this, where you just get a couple of cambered corners. And if that was gravel in real life, this must have been a joy to drive, because it would have got real loose coming up through this section right now. So on lap 13 right now, gap of about 5 seconds to Jochen Rindt, who I believe would be in a coupe Maserati, top of my head, but we'll have to confirm that when we get closer. But yeah, really nice to drive these once again after driving stuff with higher power and downforce. I think it's just such a pure racing experience, and you pull them around a track that's nice and short. You really feel like you're attacking it constantly. You never feel like you're sort of slowing down or anything. It's just constantly go, 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 which is nice. And it would have been a fun race if they had have decided to do the 1970 Grand Prix here, albeit probably would have been a bit too fast. I think cars were nearly reaching 300 kph. Well, they probably were at that point. You had the Ford DFE powering 90% of the grid, and that thing was super powerful, as we're only using an old 1965 Indianapolis Ford powering the old McLaren here, which is still quite fast for what it is, but nowhere near compared to that absolute beast of a thing. So really starting to reel in the cars ahead now. There's a massive pack. Should be on them within a lap or two, I'd say. Probably lap 16 is where we pull up on them at a second a lap. Starting to see a lot of skid marks. Felt like the tyres in this, I know that the tyres don't wear as much, but it really felt like there was a sheen on them that you had to wear off to really start to get the grip to come down. It was almost like you had to drive fast to get them faster, if that makes sense. Not just heat them up, but like you had to drive fast to get the sheen off, which I haven't felt before on Assetto Corsa. I know that it's a thing on AMS2 and other sims like that. As we got two cars alongside up ahead, could be a bit of action kicking off on this lap, but yep, there's a car off. I don't know who that is. Jochen Rindt, either Jochen Rindt or another car. So should be right on him by the end of this lap. As we come towards the end of the airfield once more, braking down to second, turning in for the double right, getting on the power nice and gently, getting a little bit crossed up but not too bad, and putting the power down as early as I can. Yeah, really enjoyable track to drive for a small amount of corners. Can't describe why, but I always find myself coming back here. So it was nice to finally have a race. Usually I just drive this in aggression on hot lap mode, as I just couldn't find a setting for the AI to race on. But here we are, right on the back of an Eagle. So that's not going to be Jochen Rindt. That should be Scarfiotti. Okay, so Scarfiotti in the Eagle ahead. Massive group of 7 cars. Let's see how many I can get, if any at all. Come through the first sector once more. Hold it in third. Nice and tight to that inside curb. Fuel line's gone on. Fuel light's gone on, so don't have too much fuel left, but I've only got 4 laps to make it to the end of the race. As they're all moving around up ahead, could be some action going into this corner here. Breaking down to third and then second. Oh, pulling right up alongside him. Oh, and contact between me and Scarfiotti. Oh, I don't know whether his car would be running after that. I reckon that would have got his gearbox. But anyway, we'll press on. No damage in this race. As we quick shift up into 5th. And then pretty much straight away back down into 3rd. aim towards the inside just in case we brake late enough to get a move done. But it looks like the Eagle has made a position, so this should be Yock and Rint. No, that's not going to be Yock and Rint. Unsure who this is going to be, but getting past them for half a second. Don't know if I'm going to be able to make it stick. They always seem to have a nicer exit than I did out of that corner. So it's not Scarfiotti. I definitely know that's not Scarfiotti. So unsure who that is up ahead, but we'll keep going. It could be a back marker, actually. Maybe it's a back marker. I reckon it's a back marker. So probably should have yielded a position there. Anyway, we'll press on. And they just pull away on the straights. That's the difference between this and this car and those, is they just drive away like I'm standing still. Let's turn in as late as I can. Oh, massive sideways action. That's what happens if you put too much power down on that gravel. Just gets you really, really sideways. But able to control it in these cars, which is my favourite part about them. And again, up into 5th, and then down to 3rd. See if I can send it up the inside on this Brabham, which I don't know if this is for position or not. I'm going to have to review the footage. As we go into 2nd, around the last corner, able to get the exit this time and stay ahead of that Brabham, but he's pulling up alongside me again. Oh, this is annoying. Yeah, so it's still saying Scarfiotti, so that must be a back marker. I don't know which driver. As we get a nice chunk of lag, healthy chunk of lag there. Stay narrow. Oh, getting a bit of the dirt. Don't want that. It's going to compromise my exit. So getting a bit stuck at the moment with only a couple of laps to go. Haven't made any progress. I thought I'd be 2 or 3 cars up the road by now, but unfortunately not, as they've just got so much power in a straight line. But they are getting all tangled up in front, so should be an opportunity if I get a good exit here, which I have. Keep it on the outside, power down as much as I can. Brabham is going to have more power than me, but I am well within the slipstream, so this is going to be a move done by this corner unless I do something drastically wrong. But I haven't. Chuck it into 3rd, turn into the corner, and power out of it. It's as simple as that. I think that's definitely the slowest corner for the AI, as there is a big healthy group up ahead. As I'm getting past a Cooper on the left, that should be Yock and Rint, I reckon. And it is. So Yock and Rint in front of me, still. Going to get held up coming through the first sector once again. But if I can get a good exit coming onto the straight, I might just be able to do something into the braking zone if I stay within the toe. I noticed that I had to be really close to get any sort of toe, but it did work. So we'll shift up into 5th and hopefully get some sort of toe. Usually topping out at 267. So getting a little bit of slipstream, but not too much. Just a K or 2 more. And brake late as possible. Really nice exit. And move done. Simple as that. I reckon he's going to be able to get back at me before the braking zone, but maybe not, because I'm going to be able to outbrake him into this corner. So I'd say that's move done. Position made on Yock and Rint. Oh, he's pulled up a little bit, but not too much. Not enough to be a threat. Last corner for the second last time. Pull up alongside another Cooper of Joe Siffert, as he gets a nice exit out of that corner coming across the start-finish line to start the last lap. Joe Siffert in front. We're back into P9, so it only took me 20 laps to get back into P9, but hopefully can finish a little bit higher. Oh, as we just go too wide into an area. You can't go too wide, but somehow getting a nice run onto the back straight, or onto the front straight, sorry. See if I can get in his toe and make any sort of move into the next corner. Don't want to lose a position to Yock and Rint behind, who is pulling up alongside me. Oh, and he's outbroken me too, so possibly losing one position here, but able to hold it around the outside. Oh, bit of contact. And he hasn't spun, luckily, but I'd say that his suspension's probably going to be worse for wear after that one. I'm going to have a bit of body work done, but should be okay. It's the last lap. But I don't reckon we're going to be getting any more positions after that. So 2 corners left. Down to third. Really close to out of fuel at this stage. I'll come under the Dunlop tyre once more. Down into second. Last corner. Joseph just in front. And that is a 20-lap race done at Albi. A great little racetrack. Super fun to be driving these cars again. Hadn't done a video for a while, but this was one that I'd wanted to do for a while. So we'll go look at the finishing results. Alrighty, so here we are at the results screen at the end of the race. We got Francois Villemot in first, Giancarlo Baghetti in second, Graham Hill in third, Dan Gurney in fourth, and then you got Dennis Whitman, Levico Scarfiotti, Chris Amon, Joe Siffert, me, and then Jochen Rindt in his Cooper Maserati to round out the top 10. And then looking forward from the top 10, you have Guy Ligier in 11th, Denny Hillman 12th, John Surtees, Bruce McLaren, Chris Irwin, Roman Pomero, Sebastian Alberti, Mike Spence, Jackie Stewart, and Jack Brabham, which I'm assuming is the back marker. But anyway, that's another one done, and I will see you guys next time.